Well, folks, it seems the art of the deal has taken a bit of a geographical turn. That's right, Donald Trump, a man who once slapped his name on steaks and bottled water, has set his sights on something a tad bigger: Greenland. You remember Greenland, right? That giant island covered in ice. Turns out it's not just a good place to film a nature documentary. According to some folks, it's the next great American frontier. Forget the moon, we're going for Greenland. Now, you might be thinking, wait, can you even buy a country? It's a fair question, one that seems ripped from the pages of a particularly strange Monopoly game. But here's the thing. While you can't just stroll into Greenland with a suitcase full of cash and expect to get the keys, history shows us that powerful nations have a funny way of acquiring land. It's usually less about a polite transaction and more about, well, let's just say persuasion with a healthy dose of because we can. This brings us to the man himself, Donald J. Trump. Fresh off another victory lap in the 2024 election, he's back with his greatest hits. Elon Musk auditing where your tax dollars went. And you guessed it, renewed interest in adding Greenland to the US real estate portfolio. And why not? After all, we've already got a flag with a whole lot of white on it. Might as well add some actual ice to the mix. Now, before we dive into the specifics of Trump's Greenland ambitions, let's take a quick history lesson, shall we? The idea of one country just deciding it wants a piece of another country isn't exactly new. In fact, it has a rather long and messy history. Remember all those history books you pretended to read in high school? Yeah, well, they're full of stories about something called imperialism. Essentially, imperialism is a fancy word for taking over land that isn't yours because you think you're better at running it. And boy, oh boy, did countries love to do this back in the day. The British Empire, for instance, was quite fond of planting its flag on every continent it could find. The French weren't exactly shy about it either. And let's not forget about various other European powers who seemed to think the world was their own personal game of risk. So back to Greenland. You might be wondering, aside from satisfying Trump's seemingly insatiable appetite for real estate, why on earth would anyone want to buy a giant chunk of ice? Well, turns out Greenland isn't just some frozen wasteland. Beneath all that ice and snow lie some pretty valuable resources: oil, gas, minerals, you name it. It's like finding a winning lottery ticket buried in a snowdrift. And it's not just about what's under the ice. Greenland's location is also strategically important. Control over Greenland would give the US a major foothold in the Arctic region, something that has both military and economic implications. Think of it as prime waterfront property, only the water is mostly frozen and the neighbors are, well, polar bears. Of course, proponents of the acquisition, like our old pal Marco Rubio, who in a shocking turn of events is still somehow the Secretary of State, are quick to point out the national security benefits. On February 11th, Representative Earl L. Buddy Carter introduced a bill to rename Greenland to Red, White and Blueland. Maybe we can put the name to a vote. Now, you might be surprised to learn that not everyone is thrilled about the prospect of Greenland becoming, as some have put it, the 51st state, but with more ice fishing. In fact, the reactions from both Denmark, which currently has sovereignty over Greenland, and the Greenlanders themselves have been less than enthusiastic. The Danish Prime Minister, Mette Frederiksen, has repeatedly stated that Greenland is not for sale. And you have to admire her commitment to this whole not selling your country thing. It's a bold strategy. Let's see if it pays off. Meanwhile, the people of Greenland have made it clear that they are not interested in becoming part of the United States. They like their free healthcare, their education system, and their general lack of criminality. Who can blame them? So will Trump's Greenland dream become a reality? With the recent bill from Buddy Carter, what does he know that we don't? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time.